Hello everyone, you're welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Fulu Ayola and this is Get Candid with Fulu, where we talk about everyday life issues and I bring my personal opinion and that of any of other invited guests on the show. On today's episode, I will be talking about my move to the US and some culture shock that came with that move. So let's get started. So generally, moving to a new state, country, job, everything, any new move brings about its own challenges. And with moving to a completely new country, it does bring about a lot of cultural differences, and you have to adjust. You need to learn and unlearn a lot of things, and most especially when you're older, when you're already pretty much set in your own ways. I mean, I'm talking about people that are moving even in your 20s now, for people that are moving in their mid to late 30s, 40s, older and all that. It can be a bit of a challenge. So even now, now I've been here since 2017, and there's still a lot of things that I still learn, each day. And the thing about it is, with working, you tend to have a lot of exposure to those kind of things. If you're here and you're doing like business and it's more of relating with like minds or people from similar culture, if all I'm doing is maybe selling, let's say, African attire, and I'm selling more, or maybe I'm making clothes, or, and more of my clients are Nigerians, then it's not as bad. It's still, there'll still be a few things. So, well, let me get on with it, because I do have a bit of a list of the different things that came up. So obviously, one of the biggest things is the accent, naturally. No matter how much you think you have Fune, people will still hear the accent. It's kind of interesting because, if you feel like, okay, I speak Fune a little bit, and you go to Nigeria, in Nigeria, you're going to stand out because then they'll be like, they are speaking Fune. Okay, maybe they are part of the I just got back population. Now, if you're here and to you are speaking that same Fune, they're going to hear it. That accent, where's that accent from? So naturally, that was a huge thing because for me personally, coming from Nigeria, I thought I spoke well. So, but the accent is still such a big thing. So of course you get heard, where are you originally from, and things like that. People who want to be polite, where are you originally from, because they don't want you to feel like, okay, well, yes, we're all Americans, but where you're originally from, or where are your parents from? Well, I'm from Nigeria. So that is part of it. But like in my office, there was this guy. His name is Todd, and I know that generally, I would say Todd, Bob, that kind of thing. But one day he summoned up the courage to say, "Why'd you call me that way?" And I'm like, "Excuse me, what way? I call you Todd. No, sorry, I call you Todd. Yeah, is that not how to call you?" He's like, no. That's not how to pronounce his name. That his name is Todd. So, now, obviously, you could hear me saying Todd because now I'm used to saying Todd, as opposed to Todd. We don't, where we're from, we use all of our mouths to call it is Todd, as opposed to Todd. So, that was that. I didn't take offense. The honest truth is I do not take offense to those kind of things because I feel like, someone is telling you that, okay, you learn it. If you call me the way you're not supposed to call me, I correct you and I'm like, no, that's not how to pronounce my name. My name is Fulu, obviously they still say Fulu and stuff like that, but that's that. Also, there was a word, because we had the script that we would read, and you talk about you talk about regular. So regular is how to pronounce it, right? And then I would say regular, and this same Todd was all like, "Why'd you say regular?" I'm like, it's like, it's regular. I'm like, okay. So now you don't hear me say regular anymore. It's regular. So that was that. So that was very interesting. Also, when I had just started working, there was this gentleman, we're all in the same training group and all that. And when we started working proper outside of training, he was gone for like a week. And when he came back, I'm like, oh, hi, where have you been? And I didn't know that there was anything wrong with asking where he had been, because in Nigeria, where I was coming from at work, if somebody is gone for a week without telling you or without announcing or something that they are going to be gone for a week, and you come back and you don't ask after them, it's more like you don't care, right? So for me, it was, "Ah, where have you been?" And I guess I was being too nosy. So he said something about going to get castrated, and I'm like, "Ah, sorry, I'm sorry. I was just asking out of concern. I apologize if I overstepped my bounds," and I gingerly carried myself and went away. So that was very interesting, because where I'm coming from, on the one hand, if you don't ask, it seems like you don't care. Now you ask, on this other hand, it seems like you're being nosy. So it's like, where is the line? So now, I mean, when people come back, if I've not seen them in a while, I just say, hey, welcome back, and that's it. If they feel the need to say where they've been, good. If they don't feel the need to say where they've been, that's good too. It's none of my business, unless we're actually friends. And if we're friends, I believe I would know. You know what I mean? I would know where, if you're going to be gone for a while. So that's another one. Another one is holding other people's children. This one, I feel like even in Nigeria, it's becoming prevalent as well, because in Nigeria, somebody brings their child, or you're just seeing somebody's child. Because, back then, again, I worked in the bank. If someone had a baby and maybe they were on maternity leave and they decided to come into the office and they brought their child, everyone is going to carry that child. Everyone is going to hold the child out, bring the child, oh, cutie, that kind of thing. So this lady had a child and brought the child to work. She was still on maternity leave. And I went and I said, oh, let me have him. Hey, the truth is, she was gracious. She gave me the child. But when I went back to my desk, one of my coworkers was like, you held Patricia's daughter or son? It was a boy. You held him? I'm like, yeah. He's like, did you ask? Did she say it was okay? I'm like, I was really taken aback. Like, what did I do? What was, I felt very embarrassed. So eventually when she returned, I apologized to her. But when I got home, I told my husband, I said, I held somebody's child to do, and people were asking me questions. He's like, you don't hold people's children. You don't. What's wrong with you? You have to. You don't. Unless they say, here, you want to hold him? I'm like, okay, that one is different. That one is different, but okay, I guess I will not do that. So now, if I see a little baby in their, in their stroller or something, I say, hey, oh my God, she's so cute, hey, and I make faces and baby sounds. That's about it. I don't cross the line with that. Also, dressing. So obviously you guys, especially the Nigerian audience here, that you're working in a bank. I don't know about now, because honestly, it seems like everybody has left the country, and when anyway. So now, I don't know about now, because I went to the bank the last time I was in Nigeria, and I'm like, come on, what's going on? Because when we were working in the bank, customer service, everybody, you're looking spirit. You're not just dressed anyhow. You're dressed corporate. You're dressed nice. You know what I mean? So, and that's what I was used to coming from the bank in Nigeria. So generally for me, I think it's a mental thing. For me, when I'm going to work, I want to dress nice, because it puts me in the psyche of, well, I'm at work. So, at my office, obviously, I would wear nice, heels. I'm always wearing heels. If I'm wearing flats and it's not sneakers, maybe on a Friday, and I'm wearing flat shoes, something is wrong. Even now, something is wrong. I'm not feeling too good or something. But because generally I would always wear high heels. So it was very shocking for me now I work in the back office, so I don't really interact with clients face to face. So it was shocking for me when I saw people wearing Crocs, like flat sandals, casual slacks and I'm like, how are you coming to work like this? Matter of fact, at some point, one of my bosses said I was intimidating to her. You know, the way I dressed, the way I carried myself. At some point, she said, well, Folo looks like someone that works in Wall Street. You know, like she looks like all those Wall Street people because of how I was dressing and how I was carrying myself. And she confessed eventually, or she let me know that she felt intimidated. I'm like, oh my God. Well, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but I mean, personally, I'm not going to change how I dress. I'm not going to change how I carry myself because, again, you are addressed how you're addressed, right? So that was very interesting for me. Now I can imagine that people in New York probably dress differently, but I'm in Arizona, and I think it's a little different here, even where I work. But maybe if we were client facing, maybe people would dress. I believe people will dress differently, but I don't care whether or not I'm client facing. I mean, it's just who I am. So that was very interesting. Lastly, I'll talk about, like the interaction between parents and children. I mean, in Nigeria, even now, I know how, now I'm older. So, with my parents, there's a bit more of a rapport, and I'm all for, I think it's important that children have a voice because they're human and they should be respected. I mean, we're supposed to treat children right. Obviously, children should not fear their parents and all that, but also, you're not, I personally believe that you're not your child's friend, you are their parent. So in as much as they feel comfortable talking to you, they have to know that you're their parent and you're going to, scold them when they do wrong and things like that. So while that is the case, some interactions between parents and children were a bit interesting to me, for lack of a better word. Interesting is what I would say. Now, I was exposed to people who both parents were Nigerian. I was exposed to people who one parent was Nigerian and one parent was not. And obviously others who both parents are not Nigerian. But I'm going to talk more about the people with both parents as Nigerians and the people with one parent as a Nigerian. So both parents as Nigerians, I'm telling you, I would think personally coming here that, especially since their parents were first generation immigrants, so it's like, okay, their parents were born in Nigeria, so they are exposed to how the culture is in Nigeria. But just the way the children interact with them, like, answering, telling their dad, well, dad, okay. So an example will be someone telling their father, like, well, why can't you go get it yourself? Like if the father says, go get me the drink or something, like, why can't you go get it yourself? Now, not exactly that way, but more like, well, I'm doing something, you can also go get it. Or, just the conversation. And then the parents will be like, hey, these children of this place. And I'm like, I don't understand these children of this place. Some of these parents are embarrassed by what those children are doing. But it's like, and it bothers me when both parents are Nigerian. Now, for me personally, there was one that I witnessed. We were all playing a game, and the child told the father, because the father was making a funny move, and the child told the father, "Are you crazy?" And I could not continue playing the game. I really could not, because I took it very personally. Like, what? And the father was just joking and laughing, and it was no big deal. I stopped playing the game because I was very, 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 very upset at the fact that a child will ask their father if they're crazy. Now, eventually, I got talking about it, and I was told, well, it's not like asking if you're crazy. They're not literally asking if you're crazy. They're more like, it's a joke. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care what joke is happening. I don't care what's happening. You can't ask me if I'm crazy. I don't have to be your parent. As an older person, you cannot ask me if I'm crazy because we are playing a game. No, now. No. Then there was one other example where I was calling a teenager at home and I shouted her name. And then she's like, yes, why are you yelling? Why am I yelling? Hey, when she came, I said, never in your life would you tell me why am I yelling? What's wrong with you? You know, I was so angry. And, you know, my husband was like, it's English that is your problem. I said, what do you mean it's English that is my problem? Yelling. Okay, so what were you doing? I said, that I was, shouting. That even shouting, she cannot tell me why am I shouting. Okay, so what should she tell you? I said, she cannot tell me either. I said, me raising my voice is because I called her the first time and she didn't hear me. So obviously I had to raise my voice for her to hear me. So if I had called and she heard me the first time, I won't raise my voice. And if she's at a distance, what do you expect me to do? I'm going to raise my voice. So, I mean, you can say, why am I raising my voice? But even that, no, if I call you, you answer and you come. That's the expectation. Not ask me why am I yelling or why am I shouting. No. And that's, for me personally, I think, you know, some things I'm getting more acclimatized to. So I'm adjusting a little bit in some things, but some things I still feel very strongly about. Like you can't tell me that, you know, the fact that somebody is older than you, I think demands some respect, some respect, even though, you know, respect is reciprocal and respect is earned. But there's some things that you cannot say to somebody that's much older than you. But that's my own thought. If you guys have any examples of some culture shock that you've experienced in a different country, in a different state, you know, in a different place in general, please don't hesitate to share it. Please like and subscribe. But that's it from me today on today's episode of Get Candid with Folu. Till next time, thank you and see you later. Bye.